Hey guys, it's Kathleen here. I hope you guys are having an awesome New Year's. New Year's happens to be one of my favorite holidays because crazy awesome things always end up happening on New Year's. I also really like that New Year's is a great reflective holiday. It kind of inspires you to look back on everything that happened the year before and set goals for the next year. I wanted to talk about some of the awesome gaming moments from this year and some of my favorite games from this year, and then maybe share a story from one of the crazier New Year's Eves that I had, which I will share at the end of this video. So, one of my favorite games this year was definitely Borderlands. I really loved Borderlands 2. The storytelling was great, the guns were great, the action was great. It does seem a little bit dry if you play it on single player, so I'd recommend playing it on multiplayer if you are just starting the game out or if you're contemplating buying it. But it had some great moments storytelling wise. One of my favorite moments in Borderlands 2 is when you find out about Angel, and I can't say anything without spoiling it, but there were some definite twists at the end, and they just kept coming. Like, there was more twists. And just when you thought that you had discovered something, another twist happened. So I definitely think that's one of my favorite games of this year. Another one of my favorite games from this year was The Walking Dead. And I still haven't finished it yet, so I can't talk about that in depth. But it gives you so many choices, and it's a lot like Heavy Rain in the gameplay style. There's more of an emphasis on dialogue and making choices and watching those choices make a difference near the end, but the storytelling itself was really great. There was just twists every 5 seconds. I mean, every time I made a dialogue option, I felt like I was making an option that was life or death. I felt like my adrenaline was just going crazy every time I played it. It's such a great game, and it has tons of replay value because you can totally replay it again and make different decisions and see how those decisions impact the story. Now, there were some drawbacks to the decisions that you make because some decisions, I can't, spoil anything, but, some characters that say you would save in the first episode end up automatically getting killed in the third episode. So I felt like some of the decisions that I made just were written off because of automatic, choices that the game makes for you, but almost every game does that when it comes to decisions, and I felt like The Walking Dead did a better job at letting my decisions feel like my decisions than making it feel like decisions that the developers were making for me. It did a lot of things really well, and it didn't even have that big of a budget. The graphics weren't that intense, it wasn't that realistic, but the storytelling was so good that it was just really enjoyable, and I can't wait to finish it. So yeah, The Walking Dead was another one of my favorite games this year. So after The Walking Dead, there is The Witcher 2. That was another game that just did so many things well. I feel like my faith in the video game industry is just restored after that game because CD Projekt Red really loves its customers. They're really good at letting their customers know that they actually want them to enjoy their game.
How can I help you, handsome?
I'm looking for a whore.
With The Witcher, all of the DLC was included in the Enhanced Edition. All the soundtrack was included. Things that should have been... This is stuff that they would release as a collector's edition that was included in the $60 full-priced game. I felt like I got everything that I felt satisfied with the price that I paid for this game. So enough about the company. The actual game was just really polished. The actual look of it, the gameplay, this series just has fantastic lore. My only complaint that I talked about in my review of the game, which I'll maybe make a link for, I did that a while ago before I had decent audio quality, but one complaint I had about the game is that I wish that there was a lengthy, like an actual romance within the story, because Triss isn't really in much of the story. She's in the beginning and then isn't there and then is there near the end. But yeah, she isn't there like the entirety of the story. After reading the Witcher books and realizing that Geralt's connection to Triss and to Yennefer is so strong, and how important those characters are to the books. I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more of a story going on there. It just read the books, they're really good. So I do want to talk about Mass Effect 3, of course, because that came out this year.
Because of her, I am alive, and I am not alone.
I will say that another one of my favorite things about gaming this year was actually the Mass Effect 3 ending controversy. I hated the ending, the original ending, but I'm so glad that it happened, because now that I look back, if the ending wasn't as bad as it was, I wouldn't have even started making YouTube videos, because I just made YouTube videos to start talking about Mass Effect and my opinion of the ending and my opinion of the extended cut. I've discovered so many awesome other YouTubers that were discussing their opinions of the ending, so that BioWare would get some, tips on what to do for future games and what to do for the extended cut. I really loved the Martyr Shields memes that happened. If there's anything that I want to remember from this year, is definitely some of the awesome memes that happened because of the ending, that horrible ending, and some of the awesome protests that happened, like the Cupcake protest. A bunch of fans got together and raised money to send cupcakes of protest to BioWare, and I might put a link in the description of one of the news articles about it, but we sent like 300 or 400 cupcakes to BioWare that were all vanilla flavored, but red, blue, and green frosting, so that they were different colors, but they all tasted the same, if you get what I mean. So I thought that was really hilarious. The ending of Mass Effect 3 was really bad, but I'm kind of glad that it happened now that I look back, because if it didn't happen, then I wouldn't be making YouTube videos, so I'm kind of glad that it happened. So now I'd like to tell my crazy New Year's Eve story, which I have to tell absolutely everyone, and I've just been waiting to somehow put on this channel. This is probably one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me. So when I was about 13 or 14, I had a little get together for New Year's Eve. I like to have a few friends over for holidays, nothing crazy. We were playing a game of Truth or Dare, and I decided to dare my friend to go outside and sing Annie's Tomorrow. And just to let you know, there was a crazy party going on next door. So she went outside and sang, "Tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll love you tomorrow," except she screamed it. And right after she finished, a very drunk man from next door sings, "I'll love you tonight." He grabs his 12-pack beer, starts walking towards the door, and we're all freaking out because we're a bunch of young kids, so we just run back inside, start giggling our butts off. And later in the night, we watch the ball drop, we, celebrate New Year's Eve, and decide to go in the backyard to watch fireworks. And some of my friends are peeking over the fence and giggling about some of the stuff that's happening next door with the crazy party. And the man that yelled at us earlier, who we've named Beer Boy, is making out with some random chick. This is the kind of making out that at this point you need to get a room. Like, they were like hot and heavy making out. After the fireworks happened, we all went back inside. So after a while, I start to hear these strange noises coming from my window. And my friends are giggling, and they tell me, "Come over here, come over here." And they're giggling, and they're looking out of the window. So they're like, "Hey, look at this, look at this." So I'm like, what is going on? I look out the window and all I see is Beer Boy, butt naked, having sex with some chick on my lawn, in my yard. So you're wondering, okay, so what happened? My parents came home later that night and ended up calling the cops on these two people having sex in our yard. Go figure. And I don't know what happened after that, but it still makes for a crazy story. I have yet to have anything crazy like that happen to me on New Year's Eve, and I have seen some pretty weird things in college. So that is my crazy New Year's Eve story. For those of you that have an awesome crazy New Year's Eve story, share that in the comment section. I would love to hear any silly, crazy stories that you have. And as always, thanks for watching, and I should go.